Diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Paul Grattan, who's an offensive lineman out of UCLA, formerly out of Villanova. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. How about yourself?
Doing well. Busy day, but hey, it's not so bad. So yeah, you ended up heading out to UCLA. Last time I talked to you, you were out in, I guess, the Philly area, playing for Villanova. So why don't you go ahead, just kind of give us a brief summary of your career, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So my freshman year at Villanova, I got redshirted, which I was perfectly fine with. I enjoyed my redshirt year, allowed me to get into the flow of college football, get stronger, bigger, and faster. And then my sophomore year, I started at left guard. We had a pretty good team. We ended up succumbing to some injuries. We played well though. And then my junior year, I moved to center. I played center for the whole season. Again, terrible when we just kept catching the injury bug. And then finally, my senior year at Villanova, I was back at left guard, and we really hit it off. I was first team all conference, and then we made it into the first round of playoffs, and first time we've been there in 3 years. So we really had a really tight knit group, and absolutely loved my senior year. And then going into the 2020 season, I was FCS preseason All-American, and then of course COVID happened and they canceled the season. So then after they canceled the season, I decided to move out to UCLA, and I started all 7 games at UCLA, and I loved it.
Yeah, I think I remember vividly, like that very last game there at Villanova. So obviously pulling for you guys. I think you were, I want to say, was it Southeastern Louisiana? Is who
Yeah, we
you fell to? That
yep,
was a tight game, man. Um,
brutal.
it's such a brutal game, but I mean, obviously, playoffs are playoffs. You got to get there, and then everybody is clawing and fighting and scratching, and somebody has to come out on top. So. But yeah, obviously ended up hitting the transfer portal, going out to UCLA. What made you decide on UCLA? Obviously making that ultimate decision.
Yeah, so whenever I first entered the transfer portal, it was nuts. Before I even got a call from my compliance officer, I got It's like saying I was officially in the portal. I already was getting followed by coaches on Twitter, and people were hitting me up on Twitter immediately after that. And then I was like, "Am I even in the transfer portal yet?" And then finally, my compliance officer reached out to me and told me. But whenever I was transferring, it was weird. Like it was weird. It was just like recruiting process all over again. But like the main thing I was looking for a place that I was undeniably going to come in and start. They were graduating players or players transferred. And then I was really worried about camp start dates because I transferred really late. I was already in the first week of August by the time I decided to transfer. So most teams were starting that week that I was transferring. The Big Ten schools and the Big 12 schools, they were already about to start camp, and UCLA wasn't planning on starting camp until the end of August. So that was a huge factor for me to get in with the playbook beforehand and before even camp started. So that was really nice. And then going out to Southern California ain't too bad either. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, obviously, when the pandemic hit, it kind of made a lot of really small schoolers just kind of in a bind, which is where you were at the time because you figure, you know, they really can't do the same amount of things as some of these bigger schools can, and do testing regularly and what have you. And I mean, I know a lot of your former teammates ended up transferring. And they moved on to different programs. But I mean, with with the pandemic, one of the things that happened was, at least originally, the Pac-12 wasn't on board. They were getting a late start. How did that sit with you at the time? Thinking that maybe I'm not even going to play this fall.
So I already committed to UCLA. I committed 2 days before the Pac-12 pushed it back. So I was already in the transfer portal and started the process through the UCLA applications before I even found out. And so whenever the late start, whenever they decided to push back the season, or they ended up canceling, but so did the Big Ten. And so I was really torn between Rutgers and UCLA were probably the two that I was going to end up at. And so they ended up both canceling. And I was like, well, might as well be in Southern California instead of New Jersey if I'm going to be anywhere to sit out a pandemic.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, again, ended up going out there. You guys played 7 games, which, hey, I mean, 7 games is a lot more than some other programs did. But I mean, talk me through this past season for you. I mean, obviously playing, starting out at left guard, but ended up going 3-4 season. Give me some of the highlights, the lowlights of the season, man. Break down the season kind of as a whole.
Yeah, so I mean, the season overall was just tough. The We constantly being COVID tested, just always worried about COVID 24/7. I pretty much never left my dorm room for about 3 months. I just stayed in. I was just worried about, and I didn't want to be the guy that put the team at risk. We were one of two teams in the Pac-12 that played all 7 games, so we really took care of business in that. Everybody bought into well, we're here to play football. Like, we're here, we might as well play the football season out. Like, let's just do everything we can to play football. I mean, that's what everybody wants to do, and so that we made a lot of sacrifices to play the football. And I mean, the craziest time was whenever we were about to play Utah, and they drove their all their equipment up. Their equipment was at our facility, and then whenever they came out, they had a bunch of positive COVID tests as they were traveling. So the game got canceled on Friday. We found out Friday night, hey, we're playing Cal on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. And everybody was just like, man, let's go. Why not? Probably the first college football game played on a Sunday in however many years. And yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was weird. You weren't fully as prepared as you want to be, but we made it work, and we ended up winning, beating Cal, and that was really awesome. And yeah, it was good. I mean, we didn't end how we wanted to end. We lost all 4 of our games by combined 15 total points, so we were there in every single game, and it's just 1 or 2 plays. That's all that makes or breaks a game. So it was tough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, like you said, some very tight games, a lot of which were shootouts too. I mean, you had like these 35, 40 plus point games each, and battling towards the end there with, a lot of guys. How's the offense different than what you were used to there at Villanova? Any sort of changes there that you want to maybe elaborate on a tad?
Not too many changes. We run pretty similar offense. I know Coach Kelly loves going up tempo, so we didn't run that as much at Villanova, especially my senior year. We weren't as fast paced, and so I wasn't really prepared. Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't prepared for it, but like I wasn't expecting it as much. But then once we got into the practice and camp, and then into games, I'm like, this is awesome. That play worked. Run it again, run it again, run it again, just as fast as you can. And I loved it. I mean, caught people off guard, and it obviously worked out really well for us. So we put up a lot of points on the board. So
Crazy. So, I mean, again, Paul, I mean, I remember, again, when you were back in Villanova, really being one of the best small school linemen available now, in the Power Five. So, looking forward to seeing what's going to happen this upcoming season. I do have a couple questions for you as we're kind of talking about you maybe having that opportunity to do that jump to the NFL, which a lot of people see you having that opportunity. Um, just a couple questions. One, I don't know if you could change anything about the game of football. Anything, maybe a rule or something like, is there something maybe that you would do?
Yeah. I mean, so whenever they made the rule change to allow for number zero, I tried really hard at Villanova to get my number changed to number zero, but apparently that was against the rules. So if I could go zero or double zero at left guard, I'd be really happy about that.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, obviously back in the day somebody did, but I mean, we'll see. I mean, they need to open things up a little bit. I know the pros are allowing it too, like with some of their players. So they're allowing guys to go back to their single digits. So because I remember like Julio Jones is changing his number. I want to say he's like number 8 now or something.
I
I can't
like it.
remember.
I'm all for it. I
Um,
saw a bunch of people were mad about it on Twitter, but I'm all for it.
well, I mean, some people are able to go back to their college numbers, so it's all good. Uh, who are you actually watching at the next level? Who are the guys that you try to study that are in the pros right now?
Yeah, I mean, I watch the Steelers as much as I can every Sunday, and I love David DeCastro. He's been my favorite offensive lineman for years now, so all the way back since high school, and I've always watched him, and I just try to emulate his play. He plays hard. He protects everybody that he can, and he's just super smart too. Like anytime I'll see an interview from him, he's always extremely intelligent guy, and I really like him.
So none of those teams out there west are really rubbing off on you yet. You're still just gonna be a homer. Is that kind of how it goes?
My roommate forces me to watch Chargers games, but besides that,
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you're out there. I mean, in that time zone, so you got to watch, whatever you can for sure. So,
without a
um,
doubt.
hey, let's just tell scouts a little bit about you as a prospect. I mean, what do you believe is like the best thing that you bring to the table? Maybe one of your better attributes.
Yeah, so I've just described myself as a gritty player. I just try to every single day show up, make sure that I'm doing my job every single time that I can. I show up to work every single day. I'm accountable. I just do everything that I possibly can to make sure that I set up the team for success. I mean, that's the offensive lineman mentality. We don't get the glitz and glamour of everybody else, so we just got to show up and make sure that everybody else can shine bright. And so that's what I try to do. I just try to coach younger guys up, make sure that they understand the responsibility that we have as an offensive line. And nothing works if we don't work. So we got to show up to work every single day.
Gosh, and again, I have you listed, around 6'4", 300 pounds. I mean, and again, I mean, even going back to your Villanova days, playing a little bit of center, showing a little bit of position versatility. So obviously, whatever opportunity you get, I mean, you have the opportunity maybe to, play either one of those positions too. So, have you done any like testing yet? Like, do you know where you're at with like bench and stuff? Like, do you guys do that at all?
Yeah, we do. I do a little bit. I haven't run a 40. We do testing. We did a testing at the end of our winter workouts. And so I got 26 reps on the bench. Got to bump it up a little bit more. We didn't run a full 40. And so I'm just keeping working, man. I'm going to have all summer to try to grind it out and make sure that I'm setting myself up for success.
Well, I mean, you're a lineman. I mean, how often are you actually going to be running a 40, man? So, I mean, as long as you're not like slow as molasses, like running over like a, 5'5", up into the 6, you're all right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that you're going to be that slow. I've seen you play. I mean, that's not going to be that big of a deal to me. But kudos for getting what you can on that 225, though. I mean, you said 26, which is fair. So, pretty cool stuff. Let's talk about who Paul Grattan is outside of a football player. Tell us just a little bit about yourself. Any hobbies, interests, anything kind of weird, quirky about you that you want to share with people.
Yeah, so I mean, I love fishing, love going outdoors and going to fish. That's probably like my favorite pastime. I haven't been able to get out and fish out in Southern California yet, but I really want to go do on a deep sea fish out there. Also, I'm picking up golf. I'm horrible at golf, but during quarantine, I was like, hey, let me pick up my golf game a little bit, go out on the links, and the offensive linemen at UCLA, I go out with them, and they're all really good at golf because they've been golfing their whole lives, and they make fun of me all the time for it. But it's a lifetime game for sure, and I'm just gonna keep working on it as much as I can. But yeah, I mean I love being with my family. Family is the most important to me. So any chance I can get to come home and see my family, and especially being all the way out west, and yeah, man, it's just there's a couple hobbies of mine and a little bit about me.
Gotcha. And I know, like you said, you're Pittsburgh hometown boys. So tell me a little something about the hometown of Pittsburgh, man. Like if I had to come up there and visit, like where would we have to go?
I mean, everybody says you got to go to Permanis. Permanis first and foremost, and that's you're gonna get a great sandwich there. And I think it just tells a little bit about Pittsburgh with coleslaw and fries on the burger, and like it's a sandwich and it's fantastic. But one thing that I have come to miss is Pittsburgh pizza. Southern California pizza does not match up at all. So my favorite pizza spot out here is Aiello's Pizza, and I mean they're my boys, and I love it there. So we'll grab a slice of Aiello's as well.
Nice. Got to give a shout out to some of those people. You know, maybe they'll give you a nickel every time you say their name.
Yeah.
Hey, want to try and wrap things up a little bit. Why don't you hit us with this ultimate why question, Paul? I mean, why do you play this game of football? Just a little bit of your motivation.
Yeah, so I mean, I first started playing football in third grade. Absolutely fell in love with it. Just controlled violence. You get to go out and hit people, and I've been playing offensive line since I was in third grade because I was always the fat kid, and so that's where you put the fat kids. You put the fat kids on the offensive line. But then I ventured in defense, and I really love defense. One thing I love about defense is the mentality of defense, and so I try to bring that um, over to my offensive line play. But why I play football is because I just fell in love with it. There's no other sport like it out there. It's been a saving grace for me. If it wasn't for football, I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at today. I wouldn't have gone to college. Definitely wouldn't have undergrad from Villanova and a master's degree from UCLA. Those two things were very far out of my sight when I was in high school or going into high school. So it's given me a lot of things in life and has taught me many things that I'll carry on forever.
Had you been out west like before, like making it to UCLA? So,
Nope. I went to Hawaii once for a wedding, but besides that, I never went anywhere west of the Mississippi River. It's
wow.
yeah, I
Well, I
was
mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, football is taking you places. I mean, and who knows where you're going to end up, like, with, come like draft season, 2022 draft season. Let's give all those teams in the NFL like your pitch as to why they should take a chance on you and draft you. So go ahead and hit them with your pitch.
Yeah, I mean, for me, whatever you're getting, I mean, you're getting a man who comes to work every single day. I bring my lunch pail to work. I'm from a blue collar town, so I bring a blue collar mentality. I do everything that I possibly can to make sure that the team's going to have success, and I'll play any role that you need me to play. I'm going to be violent in everything that I do. I try to make sure that people know who I am across the line of scrimmage because that's my job. I got to make sure that I finish blocks. I got to make sure that I'm doing the right things because without the offensive line working as a unit and doing everything in cohesion, nothing's going to get done. So I'm going to make sure that I'm going to bring a culture of the entire offensive line working together day in and day out so that we can be the best team that we can be.
Awesome. Well, I mean, obviously, Paul, I mean, totally rooting for you out west. I mean, hopefully, things work out well for you this upcoming season. Wish you all the best in your endeavors, man. And then hopefully, come draft day, we'll be able to hear your name. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Thank you very
Um,
much. That'd be awesome.
cool. Well, again, this is Paul Grattan. He's offensive lineman out of UCLA, formerly out of Villanova. Definitely check him out in his journey.